Nigerians have continuously agitated for the enactment of proper laws that will curtail the rate of political defections. That's why we are looking at the legal constitution basis of party defection this morning on the program. And we have one guest in-house. We are expecting the other, who is a lawyer. But before then, let's whet your appetite by taking a look at this report, preparation to our discussion this morning. It's also on party defection or political defection, whichever way you choose to call it. We'll be back.
Ahead of the 2023 general elections in Nigeria, the country has been witnessing defections of political office holders from one party to another. The recent ruling of the High Court declaring vacant the governorship seat of Ebonyi State, following the defection of Governor David Uweze, according to a public affairs analyst, is an indication that Nigeria's political law will be developed and further strengthen the nation's democracy.
Our laws might not be too strong to stop it, but the reality is that there are moral questions that will come that, okay, if that party had not given you their platform, would you have won the election? If that party had not given you the opportunity to contest on their platform, will you have been able to attain that office? So these are the moral questions that will go.
According to politicians, the party is the entity voted for and not the candidates. Therefore, the mandate rests with the party and must be upheld.
It is normal thing for people to defect, especially when you know, politicians, when you know that our ambition cannot be met, then there's every tendency that you defect to another party.
Our democracy gets deepened. Our jurisprudence also gets enhanced when some matters are tested out in a court of law. That's why the courts are there. The court will make adjudication. We all learn from that. There will be development in the system, there will be progress, and then little by little, our democracy as an experiment will get a lot better.
The person who is the flag bearer for that party is important, but it is political party that you vote for on the day of election. So my own personal opinion that when you are elected on the platform of a party, you should be able to see that mandate to the end.
Legally, the major implication of the judgment, according to a legal practitioner, is its potency for stemming the indiscriminate cross-carpeting amongst elected office holders.
To me, if you look at the Supreme Court decision on the legislative side, where the court might be right, but the court will also have to look at it, whether there was a national dispute inter-party that could have enabled them to shift their allegiance from one political party to the other successfully. And once that is there, no court will say you should vacate your seat.
To respondents, every effort aimed at bringing sanity to the Nigerian polity is a welcomed development and should be explored. It would be recalled that the proposed legislation, which is currently awaiting its second reading in the lower chamber, is considering making the president or governor and their deputies to step down if they defect from the political party under whose umbrella they were elected to another. Elizabeth Esson.
Yes, welcome back. Legal constitution, basis of party defection. We have two guests in the house. Bayo Durojaye is a lawyer. Good morning, Bayo.
Good morning.
I am not qualified to say my learned friend. Let me just say good morning, Bayo.
Good morning.
And of course, we also have a public analyst and a friend of the house anytime, Dr. Ebenezer Amuko in the house. Good morning, Doctor.
Morning, Hakeem. Morning, Nigerians.
Today,
all right. The party defection, Ebonyi State case study. When you heard about I'll start with our Mr. Bayo Durojaye. When you heard about the injunction or the ruling, what came to your mind? What crossed your mind?
You know, like it was said in the scriptures, I was glad when they said let us go into the house of God. When I heard about that judgment, I was really, really glad, because the judiciary is taking its place, though slowly or surely. It is very clear that when we have issues, you know, especially among the political class, most of the time, sometimes they feel they can always get the court to their side. But this is one judgment that shows that no, it is not all the time you can get the court to your side. You see, the judgment delivered in at the Federal High Court in Ebonyi's case shows that we are ready to take our political administration and culture to another level and face the reality. You know, in all force, if you look at the decision, it was well delivered. The required sections of the law, especially the Constitution, was referred to, and you know, a lot of people have said that the only three ways you can remove a governor is by whether the governor resign or by reason of incapacity and maybe impeached. But no, also the court has the power. When the court looks at the law, because there are some times in which when the court is faced with some situation, they have the power to make laws. We have different kind of laws in Nigeria. So in the bid to exercise their duties, judges have, so I am in support, I am glad. It shows that we are coming of age. It shows that the judiciary are placing the right laws by the right facts. Because if you look at the facts and you look at the law, there is no way the law is supreme, and we cannot be sentimental about it. So for me, when the judgment came, it was good. Yes, different opinion, diverse opinion. People have said that maybe it will scale through to the other side appeal. I don't know. But for me, as far as this judgment is concerned, in fact, let's even look at it this way. Assuming that the judge erred in law, let's just go to fact. Let's go to reality. Let's go to what needs to be done when it comes to cross-carpeting, relocating, migration, defection of political party and the political class. They do it at will without giving regard to the law, without giving regard to the citizens of Nigeria. So for me, it's a new dawn. It's really a new dawn for Nigerians. It's a new dawn for the judiciary. It's a new dawn on the political class. And, you know, it's just been delivered. You know, we are warming up and preparing for the 2023 elections. This time around, it will push some senses into the political class, into politicians, that you can't just be jumping from one place to the other. And it is based on the fact that there are no ideologies. So, you know, in summary, I am happy, I am okay, I'm contented with that judgment.
Okay, I'll still come back to you, but Dr. Nkom, does this make our politician ideological going forward?
Thank you very much. Let us go a bit into history of cross-carpeting in this country. It started last century, 1951 to be precise, when the NCNC guys in the Western House moved en masse to Action Group, Awolowo's party at that time, and then so that they can form a party, form what do you call it, to be able to form a government. And we laughed over it. And if you look at following a political trend over the years, is it Akin Amobo was one, even Bola Tinubu, Mokokere Ekun. There are so many of them. Atiku Abubakar. All of them have migrated cross-carpeted during their political careers. And it's always been, I looked at those cross-carpeting as always been the bane of the political issues in this country. And when we are talking of restructuring, as my friend said, it's not a colleague, we don't call them colleagues. We are not qualified to call them colleagues. But all the same, as he rightly said, it's one thing that has happened, that judgment gladdened my heart. But my fear is that it may be short-lived, knowing what the Nigerian judiciary is, and look at the issues, because if that judgment is sustained to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court makes a pronouncement to that, that is a new dawn. And that means that people like Oyade will now go back to the university, if he's a professor. That means that the Iman will now go home and find some other things to do. And then it will curb this arrogance of political parties. People will now have to make up their mind to stay. Look, we voted you for a particular reason, and you wake up in the morning after consultation with your wife and some decide you are going to change party. We are talking of restructuring in the outer Nigeria. This is a form of restructuring of the political parties, and it's going to bring sense. It's going to bring party discipline, because the party is now going to be supreme. We are now going to hold the party responsible. We are now going to a party. Now, this idea of people just moving around and all that, creating confusion in the politics, this will bring an end to it. But Nigeria is a difficult country. Before you know what is happening, another thing is going to happen, because people have started saying, look at the Atiku Abubakar, the Attorney General, during when he was the Vice President, when he had problems with President Obasanjo then. And then the court agreed that he can contest the election in another party while still being the Vice President. That is quite different too. I hope Nigerians will know that these are different issues we are discussing. Where he could contest, but now we are talking of moving. It would be wrong for him to, maybe he's going to explain more. These are different bodies. Let me not go to, I hope we will go to that. I will now explain what I mean by that.
Dr. Okom, let's take it from here.
Yes.
David Umahi of Ebonyi State
yes.
Was the major, and of course, for now, it's going to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
We all know. Ben Ayade will know his fate today.
Yes.
There are also 20 cross-river lawmakers. It's not about cross-carpeting. As you said, cross-carpeting has been there from time immemorial. Now, the morality in cross-carpeting with the mandate given to you, everybody would have applauded you if you drop whatever you are holding. Maybe you are a lawmaker, you are a governor, you are a this, and you got it from party A and you want to go to party B. Drop your mandate and move. I think many people will have applauded. Why are politicians not thinking about this moral angle, Doctor?
Thank you very much. I know this, you see, there's morality and there is legality, and these are two different things. When they comes to become, we forget about morality. We go to the local issue. That's why we don't put, because morality can be determined by your culture, your religion, your upbringing and all that. Morals has a lot of colors, but legality is specific. But let me go by that is what we are saying, that there may be morality all the same in our politics. If you are given a mandate by a particular system, if you believe that that system is not doing well, if you have problems even with a party, then leave that place. Leave it. Drop that mandate. That's the word you use, which I like so much. Drop that mandate. Say you think you can do, you are great. Go to another thing, take up another color, and see if you can win. It is not acceptable. And I don't see why we cannot bring a lot of, whether it is legal or illegal, morality into our politics. Because if you have morality in politics, then you have morality in the outer Nigeria. You have morality in the university, morality all over, different sectors. But if you don't have, and it starts from the political class, if they don't give us the compass to go, to follow, then it becomes anything you like to do. And as Sorali said, the issue is not cross-carpeting, moving from one party to the other, you are free to move. But when you move, don't forget that when we vote, we don't vote for individuals in Nigerian politics. We vote for parties. If I vote for Akim, I vote, Akim is in APC, and I vote for Akim. I'm voting, even if you put a goat there, because that's what we do, we vote for APC. And Akim happens to be the beneficiary of that APC mandate. So if Akim feels this thing, you should leave the place and go to another place.
Campaign on that mandate.
Campaign on that, yes,
and
that's it.
You promise to fulfill
the ideology of yes. Yeah, that is it. So it is wrong, it's immoral, and I hope the Nigerian judiciary, I'm praying that higher courts will live up to expectation for once, and then bring sanity into our political firmament.
I'm a layman here, but a little knowledge I have in Nigerian Constitution, maybe I'm wrong, says that yes, you can move, you can defect, provided there is a crisis in your party. And that crisis should be at the national level, so to say, because these people that are now want to move with their mandate will hold on to anything. Let's look at it from the basis of the law. What is the position of law on defection?
Thank you. There is nothing wrong with migrating, because by nature, human beings are to migrate. They are to move. But when your movement is illegal, or if you are an illegal migrant, the law will catch up on you. Now, the provisions of Section 221 of the Constitution is very clear. See, the law says that it is only a political party that has a right to sponsor a candidate. A candidate, whether a governor is a candidate. Let's come to specifics now. A governor is a candidate, deputy governor is a candidate. That's my own reasoning. Whoever has put himself forward on a platform of a political party is a candidate. And what it means is that the law says that it is only a political that can sponsor, which means there are some commitment from a political party. Now, a political party has sponsored you, given resources, human resources, material resources, have done a lot of things, and then you emerge as the winner. And now, for selfish reasons, you know, let's go back to 2014 when the then former governor of Kwara State, Bukola Saraki, tendered their own letter and mentioned that, he specifically in that letter stated that the 11 senators that defected to APC, that we, the so listed senators who are elected on the plan of PDP, they were moving to APC. The question is, the law says that a party sponsors you. Now, as at the time you are leaving for another party, are you going to return the resources? How do you begin to determine that? How do you quantify the resources that have been expended by the political party that sponsored you and you emerge? So is it the money that was spent? Is it the movement of the political party? How do you quantify returning and rewarding that political party? So for me, the law is very clear. The law says that it is only a political party that can sponsor a candidate. If a political party sponsors a candidate, can that candidate now dump that political party for another one, all in the name of flimsy excuses? There is crisis. Even if there are crises, it's like saying, because I have a crisis with my parents, then I'm free to go to another house and say, please become my parents. And if I have crisis in that home too, I move to another house and say, please become my parents. It will create anarchy. It will create a situation whereby politicians can do and undo. So for me, it is very clear where there are crises, and that is the reason why our constitution is severally has been attacked, severally has been adjudged to be a document that is not helping our polity. It has been severally adjudged as a document that is not helping us to move forward. For the sake of crisis, what it means is that the constitution is supporting lack of ideology. What it means is that the constitution is supporting lack of discipline. Because it is the same discipline for somebody to wake up today. The case of governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki was very clear. He dumped APC, joined PDP, contested, which means PDP sponsored his second term. So it will be another case if he now wants to leave PDP again and come back to APC, then the same question will arise. So what I'm trying to say in the nutshell is that there will be conflicts from one section of the law to the other, but even when there are conflicts, the court has said most of the time, we don't decide, and cases must not be decided on the basis of technicality. It must be decided, like Dr. rightly said, morality is part of the things that is considered when laws are being made. Morality. If morality is not part of the things that is considered when law is being made on the floor of the house, then being a gay and lesbianism will have been the order of the day in the country. You understand? So morality, culture, the law, even religion, several other components and concepts are considered to make laws. So for me, number one, Section 221 is clear. Provisions of the Constitution is clear that it is a political party that can sponsor. If a political party sponsors, then when you are leaving that mandate, or when you are leaving that party rather, drop that mandate and return all the resources to the last penny that was spent on you. So it's like, let's give an example. A governor defects now, and he has been in office for 3 years, robed in the gown of PDP, has enjoyed a lot of meetings under PDP, has done this and that, and then you want to cross carpet, then the party should have a right to claim all that has been expended on that candidate. Because in our polity, individual candidacy is not possible, but individuality helps a party and a party helps an individual. But most of the time, because we don't have individual candidacy, you just have to go through a political party. And you agree with me, we've had several humongous amount being raised for individual to contest for election. 40 million for what's it called, form, 20 million for form. Sometimes there are individuals that cannot afford it, and some stakeholders will come together and sponsor you, and then you not drop it. So it's like you have thrown their business, their investment on the water. So for me, the concern is very clear. Where we have crisis or we have conflict of the law, it should be resolved in the interest of justice and moving forward and moving Nigerians forward.
All right. I was listening to the governor of Ebonyi State yesterday, and he was talking about some technicalities in the law that were violated by that injunction. Number one, he said, according to the Constitution, defection was clearly stated for the legislative arm of government, but silence on the executive arm. Number one. And number two, it made a case of the Bayelsa State election that was held last, and the fact that the people voted for a certain party, but because of some technicality concerning the deputy governor, the election moved to the other party, which means that the party was important. They would have asked that the party produce another, since they voted for that party, rather than disqualify the election of the party in that election. Now, what can you say about this technicality from the Constitution that he has raised?
Thank you. You see, when sometimes the law catches upon a person, you look for ways, you raise issues to be able to defend yourself and to be able to be at peace with yourself. I can assure you that even if the Constitution talks about the legislative arm, I will now go back to that provisions that says a candidate. My own interpretation will now be a candidate, because we have now left that to the courts to interpret. A candidate, who is a candidate? Is a governor not a candidate? Is the deputy governor not a candidate? That is number one. Number two, even if it is not, if the law does not specifically provide as to the executive arm of the government, the court has the power, by looking at the law, the reason why the court is established is to interpret the law, to be able to say, okay, this is the law, even when, like I said the other time, even when there are conflicts of laws, even when there are conflicts, even in the same provisions of a particular law, the courts are empowered to be able to resolve that conflict. So for me, it is because this judgment did not favor, and I remember, I think immediately that judgment was delivered, the governor took to the platforms, the social media platforms, and then he said some things that are derogatory to the judiciary, and I take strong exception to that. For me, it is because that judgment was not in his favor. If the judgment has been in his favor, he wouldn't have talked like that. Then the second question is Bayelsa. There are two different issues. If a candidate lost, the technicalities here are two different issues. It's not about cross-carpeting. It's about, we are judged that this person did not win election. And if this person did not win election, the next person whose votes comply with the provisions of the law, even if he comes from another party, assumes office. It's from when you cross-carpet, when you leave the mandate to go to another party. So there are two different things. And that is the reason why when things like this happen, you see the political class, you see politicians now bringing issues that are unreasonable, untenable, unacceptable to Nigerians. Because let's look at it. The way politicians move in this country, you will say that it's just that they move in a cycle and they recycle themselves. If it's not favorable, don't forget it's not even about people that are in office alone. You see people contesting. In Ogun State here, in the case of ADC Senator, the former Speaker of the House, Titi Oseni, left ADC for PDP. He did, after she saw that maybe ADC will not favor me, she moved to APC. Governor, the man from ADC too, what's his name now? Boyega also defected to APC. They didn't win election, but it has become a political culture that once I contest on a particular platform and it does not favor me, I move to the next one. We have a lot of them like that they didn't even win election, but they defect. Just because it has become a culture for them to move from one party to the other to be able to suit their own personal interest. So I believe that at this point, everything should be used to discourage politicians to become nomadic, just to be able to feed their own personal interests.
All right, Dr. Nkom, is this not going to trample on their freedom of association? I'm not talking about those in office now, as in politicians generally, either in office or out of office.
You see, when we talk of this freedom, you see, freedom will be within the limits of the law. There is nothing like absolute freedom, and we make that mistake. Oh, freedom of speech. Oh, freedom of this. The people who tell us this freedom of speech also tell about libel, another this thing, that if you infringe on my own right, I can sue you for libel. So it's not as if it is there's no way in the world you have absolute freedom. There's absolutely no way. Even
certain rights comes.
Yes, even God himself, when he said, I walk within the limits of my law. That is why I always believe when Nigerians talk as if God is lawless and all that. No, within the limits of the law. Your freedom is within the limit of the law. So it's not trampling on anybody's freedom. What we are saying that if we voted for you, gave you a mandate, if you feel dissatisfied with whatever reason, drop our mandate, go to another place and start all over again. The point is that you cannot cross-carpet. You can,
yeah.
But don't steal our mandate. You see, when people talk of when there is crisis in the party, I believe that my friend here may not agree with me that the Constitution, I look at this other way around, that is not the Constitution itself, that the Constitution was written for human beings, but we are not yet human. Let me put it this way. The Constitution is too sophisticated for us, because even in the Constitution, there must be an element of morality, as Riley said. It's incorporated there. So you don't just talk of the Constitution as an absolute issue, you must talk within the ambient of morality. If it is not there, it becomes another thing entirely. this idea of saying that when there is conflict, and I'm sure Nigerians will harp on that when there's conflict. What do you mean by conflict? And as Rally said, I like that example he gave. So if I have conflict with my family, I say I'm no more Dr. Nkom now. My name is Nkom. My name is Akim because I have conflict with my. That to me, I don't think that's what the Constitution meant. I don't think that section of the Constitution. I'm sure what it meant was that if you have a difference which is irreconcilable, then you leave that political fold and go to another one. Pick up another toga and all that. For goodness sake, don't carry the chair in this other one to the other person's house. No. She be the see, that's how we, the common men, reason. And that's why we find it difficult to understand all those legal decisions. That is what I'm praying, that I hope the Nigerian judiciary will not leave and start talking about the right of the law.
To summarize your submission
yes,
this
sir.
way, you are free to migrate or cross carpet as many times as you like.
As you like.
That is the freedom of association.
But
when you take along,
yes,
the mandate, political marriage meant to you in party A.
Party A.
When you are moving to party B,
no,
drop it. Okay, go ahead.
You have freedom of continue doing whatever you want to do. But that is the law. So I sincerely hope and praying that I hope what will happen to Ayade should be sent away too, so that we have enough this momentum to go to the higher courts. And then I hope this is the time for the judiciary to now, we always been trampling or talking all sorts of things about judiciary. Come out now and let us put sanity in our politics. We talk of indiscipline all over. This is the origin of indiscipline. In the parties, in the politics, origin of that, you do whatever you like. A governor becomes a governor in a particular place and then defects to another one, a legislator, all of them move en masse. What type of thing is that? It doesn't happen anywhere in the whole world. Even in this America, you're always talking of American democracy. It doesn't happen. People must stand in one place, and then you can see some of them staying in parties for 50 years, 40 years, and all that. Biden has been in this thing for God knows how many. He's been a senator in that political party. And then that's what they're telling us. That's what and then we move from today, you move from APC, tomorrow you go to Swine Party, then we go to Good Party, and all that, and say because we have crisis in this thing. I think this particular judgment is going to deepen our democracy. But if they hold it.
Okay. But why now? Defection has been there for long. Yeah. Fine. Now, defection with mandates given to you by Party A to Party B have also been there for long, for some time. Is the judiciary just waking up, or are people not been challenging this issue before?
That is exactly the issue.
Okay.
Because you cannot, the judiciary is not a Father Christmas.
Okay.
The judiciary only give what you ask. If you don't challenge a particular situation or issue of law, the judiciary cannot descend to begin to ask you, you're supposed to do it or dole it out to you on a platter of gold. You must challenge it. And I give it up to people who are rising. You see, a lot of things are happening at the same time in this country, especially in our politics. Eyes are opened, men and women are waking up to the reality that the way this country has been run since 1999 up to date has shown that if we don't rise up, this country is heading for a rock. And you see, it is not that the judiciary is just waking up. The law has been there. The judiciary has always been there. But if you don't challenge it, the judiciary will not give you what you don't challenge. So as it is, it's just that somebody rose up and felt we need to change the narratives. We need to change the status quo. We need to challenge the defection. You know, I don't know. I'm looking for words to use for that defection. Unwarranted defections overnight. Like Doctor said, somebody will just wake up and consult with his wife and say, "Don't you think I'm supposed to be in APC?" And the wife say, "Yes, we'll be good in APC. Okay, move tomorrow." And then the person is moving. And you say, I've consulted with my constituents. Who are those people in your constituency? Who are those people? Don't you? And do you know some of the things that even constituency? Matrimonial constituency. You just wake up and then decide you're just moving. So if there are issues, there are so many issues in our law that individuals, political parties, pressure groups. There are so many that this other organization has done. I don't know the reason why these names are just keeping me this morning. There's this prominent Serap. That Serap has done severally challenging. And I know, in fact, in this case, I've not had Serap comments. It's really not, it's unusual for Serap not to comment on this. So this is the time in which political parties, individuals, and all sorts will rise up and challenge sections of the law. And you know, let's look at it. One of the challenges I've always had with our laws, whether the Constitution or all other laws, is the fact that when laws are being made, when senators, members of House of Congress are sitting down to make laws, what is going on in their mind? What is going on? What are you thinking of? Because the process of legislation is by deep thoughts, thinking about the past, the present, and the future. So, for me, I feel people have not challenged it, and people have not come out to say, this section of the law is not favorable. We have talked extensively about that section of the law that protects and gives immunity to governor and the deputy, the president, and the vice president in the office while they're in the office. Yes, we have reasoned about the fact that it will protect them, will not allow them to be distracted, but we have had situations in which if that law has been reviewed in a way, it may not necessarily take away the immunity completely, but reviewed to suit the present day reality. So for me, we need people to stand up to challenge the status quo, the narratives, so that when the judiciary gives their judgment, it will help us to develop and move forward in our polity.
Now, Dr. Sokon, before we go, if you look at this causes of the defection, we want to say it's based on an ideology. I shouldn't ask that. We have said no. Okay, selfishness or safety. Safety in the case of safe landing, so to say. I'm afraid of what might happen to me. The ruling party is in charge of EFCC. Now, what do you think is the main cause of this defection?
Well, it is greed. It is rascality, it is stomach enrichment, and anticipating that your party may not win the next election, so you are putting yourself so that you can benefit from what falls off from political parties, and that is what brings out some of these things. These things are not based on anything ideological. It's based on what am I going to get? At the end of the day, what am I getting? Not what my people who send me there will get to. Is what will I get from it? And I go back to what he said. He said, because we have no challenges, and we always look at democracy as going to get your PVC, go and vote. That is not democracy. Democracy and the rule of law. That rule of law is what we don't emphasize on. In democracy, must challenge everything A to Z. That's what happened if the American democracy is going on. That is why when you are elected like this woman, this black woman who is going to the Supreme Court, you can look at the grilling. They don't just want anybody to be there, because that is what is going to sustain democracy. It doesn't matter whether it's by goats, by dogs, by whatever. But when you have the people who will now sanitize democracy, which is the law court, we want people of integrity in the law court. That is what that woman, which is so interesting. I hope Nigerians are watching to see. You don't just wake up and put anybody there. The moment we start doing that, and Nigeria now believe in the judiciary, and Nigeria now exercise that mandate, that we can challenge everything, and democracy will come up. With some of this so-called issue of we want to do, what do you call it, the new thing now, the new verb now, we want to change, we want to restructure and all that. This restructuring is going to take off restructuring. You don't need to sit down, we restructure it, we restructure that. It starts from here. When we have the judiciary, I hope, I pray, judiciary will not disappoint us in the last 2 seconds. I hope judiciary will not disappoint us. Please, because when you do this, if you can get this one right, I can give us 5 years.
It's a new dawn.
It's a new dawn.
Oh. All right, it's still new dawn, the Friday edition here, and of course we've been looking at legal constitution basis of party defection.
Mr. Bayodurojaye, a legal practitioner, I want to thank you very much. Despite your tight schedule, you still made it.
Thank you.
And I'm keeping to my promise.
You're
Watch
welcome.
the time.
You're welcome.
Dr. Okom,
Thank you very
you said you always do everything for me. Even if I call you at the last minute. So I'm very grateful
Thank
for you making it again. It's been
Thank
a
you very
worthwhile
much.
discussion. And
Thank
we
you.
hope that, just like you said, we won't get disappointed and we'll move. Everybody wants, majority of Nigerians want Nigeria to move forward. It doesn't matter the selfishness of some few.
Yes.
And so you can then begin to think of what Nigerians are hoping to have at the end of the day if this kind of judgment is sustained. And of course, it's a new dawn. It will be a new dawn. We'll take this break. We'll be back.